just finished setting our notebooks up. Make sure that your class kick is open. All right, so Tremaine read our objective. We're going to read it again just so we know what we're going to work on today. Students will be able to construct. So that means that we are drawing and that means that we are interpreting, right? We have to analyze and kind of tell somebody what something means. So we're going to construct and interpret tables, graphs, and equations for proportional relationships. What is the question that we need to answer by the end of class? Demaye, what are your question?
Kind of slope it is, how we solve it.
Okay, great. We definitely need to know all those things. Can you read this question in green for me?
Sure. How can we break down a description into mathematical pieces?
Absolutely. And Demaya, you actually already answered that because you said we need to know what the slope is. We need to know how to solve the slope and even find the slope. So great job with using your vocabulary. Before we do our do now, we need to recap. Okay? Mike, you with me?
Yes.
I want you to read the first two lines. Give me some emphasis on those highlighted words.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Labeling the scale for your axis is important to understanding our problem in context.
Yes. Excellent job, Mike. So we are labeling and we are focusing on our scale, right? We highlighted those words because they're super important. All right, Deja. You with me, boo? Uh-oh, Deja. Oh, you're there. Can you read the second line for me?
I see that I'm not pronouncing that word.
You said it perfectly. Say it again.
I don't know how to say it.
Proportionality.
Whatever.
It's okay.
Can be through as. Wait, what? I don't want to read.
It's okay, Deja. Can I read it and then you try to repeat it after me? Yeah. Okay. So constant of proportionality. Let's just use the letter K. So let's say K can be thought of as the rate of change of one variable to another. Can you try that?
No, I don't want to read.
It's okay, Deja. Thank you for explaining, okay, or advocating for yourself. It's all right. Who would like to read the next one? Who would like to read the next line?
Can I?
Sure, go ahead.
Is it constant?
The rate of change. So this part right here, this third section.
The rate of change in a linear relationship is the amount y changes when x increased by I.
One, not I. That's the number one.
By one.
Mm-hmm.
The rate of change in a linear relationship is also called the slope of its graph. We use the m to represent the slope.
Excellent. Great job, Demaye, right? So we've been talking about K, which is our constant of proportionality, but now we're going to use a new type of language. So instead of saying find the K, we're going to find the rate of change, right? It's the same equation. We're talking about the change of Y over the change of X. And the rate of change can be written as M, and it's also called the slope. So that one was a heavy pack, but we've seen this before. We're going to do some more work on it today. Before we get jump started into our do now, I want you guys to pay close attention to these three figures. You are going to have to scale a graph. We have to be mindful of these three things, right? The first thing, we want all of our information to fit on the graph. If you looked at this first graph, the line is hanging off the side of the graph. We don't want our graph to look like this. All of our information should fit in the graph. The second one, it looks like if we had numbers here, it would be really scrunched up. And we have all of this open space that we didn't use. We don't want our graph to look like that. What we do want our graph to look like is that information is labeled neatly and that there's enough space on both my x-axis and my y-axis, okay? So we do want our graph to have an appropriate scale. I want you to keep this in mind when you're working on your do now. Do we have any questions?
No, I think I get it now.
Think you got it? All right, good. So, here we go. We have 10 minutes to get into Class Kick. It should already be open. And to start our Do Now, Ms. Weeks has done a recording for you. Please listen to the recording completely before you jump into the problem. If you need to re-listen to it, you can do that as well. All right? 10 minutes, go. I'm starting my timer. Good morning, Matthew. Oh, you just woke up, sweetie. Do you have your notebook in front of you?
Yeah.
You got your pencils in front of you?
I don't got pencils, but I got pencils.
All right, you got a pencil. That's perfect. Can you open Class Kick in your Google Classroom and start on the Do Now?
Go to Class Kick.
Yep. Go to Google Classroom. Go to Class Kick and start on your Do Now.